So thank you for all being here. We're really excited to start off today. On behalf of our graduate mentor, Eladio Bobadilla, who is sick and couldn't be here, we are the Student Action with Farmworkers Documentaries team. My name is Ethan Ahuna, and I'm a rising senior at Duke, majoring in sociology with minors in education and Spanish.
Hey y'all, I'm a rising junior here at Duke, and I'm studying global health and history.
And my name is Mary McCall Whelan. I'm a rising junior at UNC. Might I say go Heels? And I'm studying business administration and education policy.
And so we had the honor of working with us playing trivia, but we had the honor of working with a great organization called Student Action with Farmworkers. And Student Action with Farmworkers was incorporated as a nonprofit in 1992. Its office is actually in the Center for Documentary Studies just around the corner here on Duke's campus. And it's a really awesome organization. They work kind of with a twofold mission, one of connecting students with experience in community organizing, social justice, and activism, and also with advocating for and working with rural migrant farm workers in the Carolinas and the Southeast United States to bring them access to more resources and kind of empower them as a community. And they also really uniquely use documentary and theater work as an integral part of their outreach, which has been super cool for us as the Story Plus team. They've reached over 100,000 farm workers and families in their tenure as an organization, giving them access to legal, educational, or healthcare resources. They also have involved almost 1,000 students in their work, getting them involved and advocating for this population that a lot of people don't know about. Even in doing this project, a lot of my peers at Duke that I talked to had no idea that this population was out in the fields picking the food that we eat every day. And so Joanna Wellborn, who is the Communications Arts Director at SAF, gave us access to their really rich archive of 25 years of documentary videos, photos, stories, transcripts, all of that, and kind of gave us free reign to go through the archive content and make a really compelling stories celebrating farm workers and SAF as an organization.
So now that we have a little more context about why we did what we did this summer, I'm going to talk to you a little more about how we did it. So we created 3 deliverables, 3 different documentary films to tell the story of, like what Ethan said, who SAF is, the organization that we are representing, who farm workers are, and then just kind of propelling the conversation about how you can get involved or what surrounds this idea of a farm worker in Eastern North Carolina. And so this process was a lot of fun, it was a lot of work. We had to go through quite a bit of process to get to the 3 documentary film deliverables that Zaya is going to talk a little bit more about in a second. And so I would say it's like a 4-step process, the first of which is storyboarding. So just starting the conversation, what kind of story do we want to tell? What kind of ideas do we want to spark? And how are we going to do that? And so we just brainstormed for a few days. And then from there, we went into the archives, which is in East Campus. It's on West Campus. Don't go here. It's on West Campus. It's in the Rubenstein Library. And so it's like we have just stacks and stacks of these boxes that are filled with archival objects, like what Ethan said. So like photos, audible stories, meetings, notes, newspaper clippings, journal entries. So we rifled through that and just tried to glean out what we could of what could make really meaningful content. And that was the second step. Moving to the third step, we went into the fields. As you can see in the short video, we spent an afternoon just sort of observing what that reality looks like for a lot of the farm workers to give us a better perspective of who we're serving and why. And then from there, we went to interviews. So we interviewed SAF. We went right over to the other documentary studies building and sat down, and this is a picture of us actually interviewing one of the employees there. And so that was really neat because from those 4 steps, we got our content, we got our vision, and then we started working. And so each of the 3 of us sort of were the point person for one of the 3 videos, and Zaya's going to talk to us a little bit more about what those videos were and how you can watch them.
Yeah, so we ended up with 3 videos that kind of came together after a lot of days of analyzing and looking through material and then coming up with 3 motifs. The first video we created was We Are. So after looking at a lot of the information, we tend to believe that farm workers are just farm workers. But after looking through a lot of the stories, we learned that farm workers often present themselves with other qualities before farm workers. They're a mother and a farm worker. They're an artist and a farm worker. So we wanted to create a quick video showcasing that. But after we did that, we decided there was a better way to showcase farm worker stories than us speaking for them. So we decided to work through a lot of quotes and a lot of information to create a small video of quotes and other audio about why farm workers came to the States and why they're doing what they're doing. And then lastly, the video that I was the point person for was interviewing staff employees and showcasing what they've done, the progress, and the purpose over the past 25 years, which was a really cool opportunity because we got to look through all the material, and this was our first time actually getting to interview and put that together. So we're going to show you one of our first products that kind of started it all. So this is the Farm Worker We Are video.
That was our first content, and we kind of designed the videos in a trilogy. So you would watch that one, you would hopefully get inspired to learn a little bit more about farm workers. Go to our next video, which features quotes and stories that they have to share for themselves. And then our third video is kind of what are we doing about it, and that features SAF and the work that they've been doing, which has been awesome. Some challenges that we came across in creating these stories. SAF has a really rich archive of lots of really awesome individual stories of people who are building a house for their families, people who open a taqueria in their town, people who make belts, people who are musicians and write songs, as well as some audio of some of those songs. And so the hard part for us was how are we going to take all these individual stories that are really powerful and kind of make an overarching story that kind of gets at the diversity of this population and the diversity of the issues and the struggles that they face and why they're so important for us to do something about them. Without making it super long and super boring, thinking about all of the media content that's around us every day, how can we make people care, and what kind of media content can we make that will grab people's attention and will keep people's attention? And so that was really hard for us in creating these videos. So this first video was tried to pull at the heartstrings a little bit and get you kind of in, and then once you're in, we have some other videos that kind of elaborate on those stories. But that was really one of the biggest things that we had to figure out was how are we going to make this both interesting and cohesive and complete and covering as much as we can without taking away from the individual stories. And so I think we're all pretty proud of the way that it came together in the end.
Mm-hmm. And as for successes, bottom line, we work very well together. I mean, we got really lucky. As you can see, we had a lot of fun. But we also had great mentors and great support with the Story Plus team. We came into it pretty much believing that we really knew a lot about teamwork and delegating, but I think those skills even got more advanced as we continued. And then as for technical skills, me and Ethan walked in not knowing how to use Premiere Pro, and now I think we're Premiere Pros, so yeah.
And just to wrap it up, I know that we're almost out of time. I want to throw this back out to you. So the idea of storytelling is to spark a conversation, to innovate ideas. And so as you walk away from watching our stories or maybe going on SAF and figuring out what farm workers are, I want you to think personally about what you know about farm workers, about that population, about their realities, and then what you can do to be more conscious as a consumer, as an individual, and as a contributor to your society. Thank you. We've enjoyed it.
Thank you.